G'day, welcome back if you're a subscriber or if you're new to my channel. Hi, how you going? Since I turned 50, over 10 years ago now, I've been videoing a few things around York and what I get up to. So this is a trip I've been dying to do out to Mount Dale, heading off down towards Perth, in between Perth and I'd say the Brookton highway. And I've been dying to do this for, as I say, for ages. I'm going out, I've gone through Gunnerpin Ridge and heading down Qualen Road, which is quite an interesting track to do. It's quite smooth and flat. You get a two-wheel drive down most of it, or the first part, till you hit Yarra Road. Then it starts getting a little bit thinner and more a one-track or a four-wheel drive track. But as you can see, even for this time of year, which is mid-October, there's still quite a few wildflowers out and some very interesting rock formations. Just heading into a little spot I saw on the way through. It's some sort of nature reserve or something like that. There are some swampy areas out there, and there's a bit of a dam for the water there. There was a flock of ducks flying out as I came in. Looking at the tracks, it's well used by native animals, kangaroos and others. So even though somebody has camped there, I'd recommend not doing it. Just continuing on down the road, it's Gunnerpin Ridge farm out on the left hand side, but all the bottle brushes were in bloom, which was quite an amazing sight through there. And if you're coming this way in winter, don't veer off onto the right, because that's quite a swampy area in there. Still some wildflowers showing in there. As I say, this is a trip I've wanted to do for a long time, and I just bought a new camp stove, or wood burning stove off eBay, and I thought I'd try that one out at the same time. Some more wildflowers just on the edge of the road here. There are some really nice kangaroo paws and spots as well. So make sure you're on Qualen Road. It's well marked on most maps out this way. Nice clean road, but as I say, watch out for four-wheel drives, because it is a farm road as well and a lot of people access this. Off to the left and right as you go down, there's some great camp spots, and there's a couple of spots here where it looks big enough to get half a dozen four-wheel drives or campers in there as well. A little bit of loose gravel, but on the bike, if you've got any sort of experience, you won't have any difficulty. Beautiful day, starting to get warm. It was getting up in about 26, 27. The road continues through. As I say, once you cross over Yarra Road, it gets a little bit rougher, and just coming down through the pines now. There's a few old pine plantations still left around, but I have seen some replanting, so obviously you're going to get trucks in there as well, so keep an eye out. Just pulling in here, nice little shady spot, or a spot I'll lunch on the way through. Continuing on down through the pines. On the right hand side there's quite a deep gully. I'd like to come out here after a good rain and see it running, but I can see where motorbikes have crossed it, gone up and down the banks and had a bit of a play as well. Still quite green. The Talbot area and this area of the hills still gets a lot of water and a lot of rain, and if it is raining, York might miss out, but through Talbot they seem to get a lot more than us. And some interesting plants. A lot cleaner undergrowth, and just coming down the hill, still heading in towards Mount Dale, which is not far away now. Some great tracks. You can see where the ruts, where the water's rushed down there and gouged it out, and a big rock face again on the right hand side. There's a lot of spots I'd never seen out here, so I definitely will be coming back for another camp and looking for a few more campsites. I'd like to camp in amongst the pines as well. The smell of them is really fantastic. I did come across one four-wheel drive while I was out here, so they are around, and finally made it to Mount Dale. First time here. There's a tower and radar or whatever they got up on the hill behind us and the rock. People leaving rubbish, it really amazes me. There's a bag of rubbish all nicely neatly tied up and just left there. You think, really? Can't you take it away? And a couple of people have had fires. The view from up here is fantastic. Look, must be looking back towards Mundaring Weir, and in the very far distance, if a clear day, I got the pocket telescope out, you could actually see some of the buildings of the Perth cities on the skyline. And that was quite an amazing thing. I didn't think I'd see it from there. Can't see it in the images here, but you could see a couple of smoke spots coming up, so I'm not sure if that was a prescribed burn or somebody was just starting off. They were way in the distance, so it wasn't going to bother me. And your typical graffiti everywhere. There's some morons out there. Bird life out here was absolutely prolific. I used two different cameras, so you will see slightly difference in the contrast in them. And that's me. As you can see, that bag of rubbish, if I'd have been in a car I would have taken it away with me, just didn't have the room. It'd be nice to see a rubbish bin up there, but I'm sure that get abused as well. Real blue haze to the hills. It's quite an interesting effect. If you're coming out this way, watch out as you come up the road, because the Bibliman track, the walking track, crosses the road, so there is an area where people park their cars and leave their cars, so you don't want to be running over a hiker or interfering with their cars. So just keep an eye out and show respect for other users of the bush. So I've come back down from Mount Dale, and there was nowhere really to camp up around that area, and I've come back down Qualen Road and found a really nice spot in amongst the trees. This is the wood stove I've got. I've saw it on the English Woodsman, and he's made some modifications to his, which I will definitely be doing when I get home, because after using it for the first time I could see a couple of issues with the grill on top moving around, but what he's done is will solve the problem. This is tea. Now that is a steak. That is a nice piece of Scotch fillet. I was going to bring vegetables, but I thought, why? Got steak, I got mushrooms, and I got a mushroom and garlic sauce to go with that. That and a couple of rum and cokes would do me perfect. The grill's nice. It's got a little door on the front, so once you're finished using it, where the sticks are sitting out, they're actually sitting on the door. You can close it up and keep it secure. So it's a nice piece of Scotch fillet. I'm not telling you how much it costs because my wife might listen to this video. So I've thrown the mushies in there, and I've just set the steak on top just to cook through by itself and give the mushies a start. Nothing like fresh mushrooms and steak. I think I should have brought some prawns as well. Nearly ready to add the sauce. There it is, finishing sauce, mushroom and garlic. That was magic. It's supposed to be microwave, but works absolutely perfect. Just tip it straight in there and let it boil up. The wee stove folds up. I'll do a better review on it later on, but it folds up quite flat. It's easy. It comes with a nice little bag to put it in, so that makes life a lot easier. That looks brilliant. Looking forward to it. Flies were everywhere. It was. I should have waited a little bit later until the sun had set and the flies had gone away, but I was getting hungry. Once I'd had dinner, I jumped into the hammock with the mozzie fly over it, and sat in there and had a couple of drinks and listened to an audio book, which is, I'm listening to The Phantom Major at the moment, which is a quite interesting World War II story based on the SAS and the formation. Night time now, time for a coffee. So when I'd finished at night, just closed the door up on the stove, and in the morning there was absolutely nothing left but a little bit of white ash, mainly jarrah around the place that I was burning in there. You don't need a lot of stuff to go out and really enjoy yourself in the bush around here. So it's morning, sun's coming up. I had a perfect sunrise right into the tent, so as soon as it come up everything dried out, although there wasn't a lot of condensation around. There was a great emu wandering around, which quite surprised me. He was a thumper. Wished I'd had the camera ready when he went through in the bush in the background. A couple of kangaroos around, but nothing much. Just cleaned up the camp. You would never know I'd been there. I'm just coming out now. I'm just 100 yards off the road in the bush a wee bit. Nice clear spot. Again, if you go out, leave no trace. We all try and do that. We don't want to turn up to a campsite and find someone's rubbish and fire rings and everything else, broken glass. So just on the way back I went up and investigated. There were some more rocky areas, and rode up and had a climb around the rocks. Great view from the top here. You can see it just off Qualen Road. If you go heading towards Perth, it's on the right hand side. But there's a camp spot I was looking at up over the back here, which I'll do a bit of a ride round in a minute and show you. The XT performed magically as always, nice and light. I only dropped it once. I got the back wheel got stuck and I couldn't get it out of a little track, but because it's so light, you basically just lay it down and pick it back up again. No damage to it. A little bit of sandpaper on the bark buster and you'll never know it happened. Except when I told you, of course. So yeah, looking up the back here, there was a couple of spots right up in there, nice low grass, and that's one thing I always look for, not too heavy grass or too high grass, because you're watching for snakes and the odd branch that hits your camera. So look at that for a camp spot, up above the road, so you're not down in the hollow where it gets colder at night. So this is pretty much my trip. If you want to, please subscribe. I'm not pressuring anybody. I'm not doing this to get subscriptions or make money out of it. It's just showing a little bit around town and a little bit of what I do. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful, entertaining or amusing, one or the other, or all three. And again, there's some nice clear open spots there on the left. Back on the road, heading home to York, back down Talbot Road, Notts Road. Thanks for watching.